organization. Yeah. The one starting the communication process, of course, now is the source or sender, and we are saying it can be an individual, just one person, or it can be a group of people, maybe a group trying to communicate to the public or to another group, or it can be an organization. The message can be originating from a specific organization to the public, like the way we see organizations advertising in the media or trying to relay information to the public through the media. You see they're the source of the information, and you notice that we are calling the source the encoder. Who can tell me what they think this word encoder means? What do we mean by encoding? What does encoding mean? What do you think it means? Anyone? Joy, do you have an idea what encoding means?
Yeah.
Yes, what do you think it means? It has been disconnected. What about you, Daniel? You are 4 now, you are the only one remaining. Daniel, are you there?
Yes. Yes.
What do you think encoding means? And why we are calling the source the encoder?
I think it's the person sending, like the information is from that person, so it's in code from the what is it called?
Yeah, I
I'm not
can see you seem to have an idea. So what encoding means, it means coming up with a message or creating the message. So in simple terms, encoding means message
Coming up.
creation, yeah, or coming up with the message. So if you are the source, of course you're the one who is going to come up with that message and organize it in a way that it's going to access to the receiver. That idea you have in your mind, you organize it and then you start speaking, or you write down and send, maybe if it's a text or an email. So encoding is message creation, or just coming up with the message. Then we shall see the opposite of that when we look at the receiver. And then of course the message, this is whatever feelings you have, you want to express, whatever idea you have, whatever opinion or information you have, you want to express to the other person. That is your message. So you are going to decide how you're going to package that message. Are you going to use signs, or which codes or which symbols you're going to use to package that message? Like, I'm going to decide, am I going to write it down? Am I going to pick my phone and call and now start speaking that idea and opinion I have to someone else? Am I going to use gestures, which are now under non-verbal communication? So you're going to decide how you're going to package that message to relate to the receiver, which you've seen now. That process is encoding. Then after that, after you feel that you've organized the message well in your mind, you select the medium or the channel. Medium is singular for media, and there are many they refer to as media, but if it's one channel, it's the medium. So you're going to select the channel that you're going to use to send your message. Like, you're going to decide, am I going to use the email? Am I going to use text? Am I going to use a phone call? Am I going to call a meeting or
Jerusha,
a
sasa
face to
nifaa
face?
sana badala fiti. Ulikuwa unatumia hiyo laptop
Who is
ulikuwa ndani
that?
nayo? Hizo nichukue.
Mute your
Alichukua
mic,
pale alisema
Jerusa.
anataka kutumia form. Pale sawa basi.
When you join, you ensure
Na
you
kick the bucket.
mute
Oi, pole.
your mic to avoid background noise.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, so you only unmute when you are answering.
Okay.
This one, yes. So I'm saying that to now decide whether which channel you're going to use, you can see there are various factors that will guide you, and we discussed some of them yesterday with you, Alvin. Do you remember? Mention some of the factors that should guide you when you're selecting a channel. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, mention some of the factors we said yesterday because we went through this process.
The factors that
Should guide you or that you should consider when you are selecting a channel or a medium or communication.
the I think I forgot. Let me check.
Okay, there even anyone else wants to try? Daniel
Language.
or Jerisa? Yes.
Language barrier. Right? You
Urgency.
should consider the language the people are using.
Yes.
The urgency of the message you want to communicate.
Yeah, very good. If it's an urgent message, you have to use a very fast channel. Fast means deliver the information. Then for the language, it's good you try to explain it and relate to words, or you try to relate it to the channel, whereby I can give an example of mass communication. Like now we have very many vernacular stations. We have vernacular radio stations, vernacular TV stations. So if you want to communicate to maybe farmers or people in the rural areas, for you to ensure you're communicating to them in a language they can understand, you have to choose the channel that broadcasts in that local dialect in their area. So you see that's a way in which you can explain language in relation to selecting an appropriate channel. Yeah. Any other factor apart from urgency and language? Jerisa, give us another one.
I can't remember.
They even listed here. You can read from here. Yeah. Like we have this one, availability and ease of access to the channel. You have to consider whether the channel you are selecting, can the receiver access it, and is it available? Now if you are trying to like send an email to someone who even doesn't have a phone or any device to access the email, you see there you are not communicating. There's no way they'll be able to access the email. So you have to consider whether they can access that channel that you are selecting. And maybe whether it's available, like do they have a phone? If someone doesn't have a phone, there's no way you can call them, so you can only send a letter or to use maybe go there personally and use face-to-face communication. Then we also have physical distance, separating source and the receiver. That's just another one. If someone you want to send a message to is very far, here of course there's no way face-to-face communication will work. You have to use other means. You have to call them or send them a text or send them a letter because they're not there with you to speak on a face-to-face basis. So now these are some of the factors that should guide you when you're selecting a channel. Yeah, and another one can also be in terms of the nature of the message. If it's very private or sensitive information, you have to choose a very secure channel that other people cannot access, so that that information doesn't leak to other unwanted parties. So this, you can add more factors that you come across as long as you explain them well and clearly. Then of course, after you select the medium or channel, now we go to the receiver. That's the medium we're going to use to get to the receiver. And you notice now this word decoder. You notice we said the sender is the encoder, which I've said is message creation. Someone tell us what decoding means.
Interpreting a message.
Yeah, very good, which we then yesterday. So the decoding means interpreting or attaching meaning to the message, and that's why we are saying that the receiver is the decoder, because they're the one. I mean, it's the receiver who is going to try to understand this message that has come to them from the sender. Hence, we are referring to them as the decoder. Then we have feedback, which you have said it's a reaction or response from or by the receiver. Well, I've said now we are going to understand why feedback is very important, and there are some reasons here. Feedback will help to show that. Please mute your mic if you are not speaking. Joy and Jerusa, you only unmute when you are asking or answering to avoid the background noise. So feedback, that is the reaction that this receiver is giving, will show whether or not communication has taken place. Of course, if you are responding, it's because you've received a message, so that shows there's like a two-way communication there. And also it will show whether the decoder or the receiver has understood. So depending on the feedback you give me, if I'm the sender, I'll be able to interpret or understand whether you understood or misunderstood. And then if I find that maybe you misunderstood the message, depending on how you've answered, I can rephrase it. Maybe I realized I used a very technical language, or my message was not clear, so I try to make it clear so that you understand. And you see, it's your feedback that is helping me know that you do not understand or get me in the first place. And it shows also that the decoder or receiver is prepared and willing to participate in the communication process. Of course, it's not a must to get a response from someone. You can send someone a text and they ignore. Like we have on WhatsApp, it's easy to tell when someone is ignoring you. They teach your messages. You see, this is a clear indication that this person doesn't want to communicate with you. So that means they are not willing to part in the communication process. And then when we'll be looking at the topic on nonverbal communication, you're going to have silence in one aspect. So silence in itself can be used to communicate, like show that someone is ignoring you or not interested in communicating with you, which is in line with this point. Then finally, feedback can show that the encoder has adequately formulated and sent his message, and that's why now we have a response being given. Then in terms of feedback, it's also important to know that you can have either positive or negative feedback. Someone unmute and tell me or give me an example of a positive feedback. In which situation will you say that the feedback is positive? And which situation would you say that you're getting negative feedback? Anyone? Anyone with an example? Okay, let me try to give you an example of positive feedback. This is like when you ask someone for a favor and they grant you that favor, or you ask for help and someone is willing to help you. That's a good example of positive feedback. But negative, this is where you get a response that you do not expect, or like when you ask someone for something and they turn you down, or actually when someone ignores you and refuses to respond to a message. That's also an example of a negative feedback. So when you ask someone for help, or an example between an employer and employee, you ask your employer for a salary raise or a promotion and they say no. You see, that's an example of negative feedback. So it can either be positive or negative. And on the other hand, it can be immediate or delayed. A good example of their feedback is immediate face-to-face interaction, like interpersonal communication, whether with that person there, or even through a phone call, the feedback will be more immediate. But in an example of delayed feedback, it can be like when you're sending an email or even a letter. You see, an email, some people even take a whole month before checking their mails. That's why I even said if the information is urgent, email is not an appropriate channel because you don't know when I'm going to log into my email. So I can see the message after 2 weeks, then I respond. You see that's delayed feedback, hence feedback can either be immediate or delayed, now even depending on which channel you chose in the first place to deliver the message. Is that unclear? Then the next stage in the process is noise, whereby by this word noise in the communication process, it means there any interference that hinders the message from being understood by the receiver. Any barrier or any interference, we're going to refer to that as noise or barriers to communication. And in a while, you're going to look at the various barriers to effective communication. Yeah, so it's a potent barrier to effective communication. Then noise can be different forms, whereby the forms or the types of barriers are listed after this. So I hope you can hear me. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we continue from where we stopped, and we were on noise, which I've said we are going to look at barriers to effective communication in a few minutes. Then the last um, step or the last stage in the communication process is the context, which means the environment where the communication is taking place. Alvin, do you remember what I told you about context yesterday? Do you remember anything I mentioned about context?
Yeah, I
Tell us.
remember.
Yes, so do you remember?
Context is basically the surrounding that you are in.
Yeah, where that surrounding or the environment in which you are communicating. But I said it's important because you find that different words will mean differently in different environments or different cultures. And that's why I asked you for an example from your dialect. You told me you don't know how to speak the local dialect. Maybe Daniel can tell us whether there is any word he's aware of in his language or any other language that means completely something different in another language or culture. Daniel, do you know of any example?
Example of?
An example of a word whereby in one language it has a specific meaning, but when you go to another language or culture, it has a totally different meaning, even if it's in a local dialect. Do you know any word, any such word?
I
You
don't
don't have
know.
an example?
I don't know.
Okay. So I'll try to to give an example that I also gave yesterday on, like in the Pamba dialect, you find that the word Motumia means a man or a male person, but in another language like the Kikuyu language or Kiembu, the same word means the opposite. It means a woman. So now you see, maybe you are speaking in a Kamba context or to Kamba people, and maybe you're from the Kikuyu land, and then you're talking about Motumia, but you as the sender or the communicator, you know it means a woman, but to them, they're interpreting that you're talking about a man. You see, in such a case, you're going to have a misunderstanding or a breakdown in communication. Then another example I can give is in the Luo dialect. The word Ngima in Luo land it means life, but in other communities it means ugali. Yeah, most of you know Ngima means ugali in our local languages, but in the lowland it means life. So if in lowland and you're talking about ugali and you're calling it Ngima, they think you're talking about life. And then now you see you're going to end up having a miscommunication or a misunderstanding between you and your audience or your receiver. So that's why we're saying context is important. You need to understand the environment in which you're communicating and how the meanings they attach to different words or symbols so that you communicate according to them and according to how you understand. Is that clear on context? You understand? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you understand?
Yes, we understand.
Yeah, so now you see why it's important to understand the environment and the people you are communicating with before you start the communication process. Then again, now you see that whole process is described or illustrated using this diagram. Just like you said, you see how the arrows are moving from the sender all the way to the receiver and feedback back to the sender. And then you have the noise, any barrier that can interfere with this communication process and lead to an unexpected or an undesirable feedback. Then the whole process, as you can see, is enclosed and we have the context. So this shows it is environment where the communication process is taking place. Anyone with a question on that process before we go to the next part, which is purpose of communication? Who can tell me why we communicate? What are some of the reasons for purposes of communication? Why do we communicate with each other?
To
For
pass
what reasons?
To pass across a particular message.
Yeah, to pass a message or information, which will be to inform each other. Reason to we communicate.
to entertain people.
Yeah, we can communicate to entertain, like maybe to presenting a poem or any entertaining aspect, like music or something like that. You see,
Or
communicating at the same time we are entertaining people.
to
What
come into
else?
understanding if you have a dispute, so you to communicate to clarify everything.
Yeah, very good. You can also communicate to solve a dispute or to have that common understanding between two people that are at loggerheads. Good. Any other reason?
Educate the way now you're educating us,
Yeah,
explaining to
good.
us.
Yeah. Also to educate, like in a class setting, like setting of hours, again it's online. Passing knowledge on it through communication. Another one. Yeah, there's also another one there to persuade. Yeah, when you're persuading, what's your understanding of persuasion? What is to persuade? What is to persuade someone?
Is it like to make someone believe something that you're telling them? To make them
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, like to make them believe what you're saying or to influence their attitudes and their opinions. Like for them, like trying to
To
convince
convince.
someone to share, yeah, convince someone to share the same point of view as you are, so to come to your side. Yeah, you're persuading them and trying to make them believe something, or like in advertising is the most common form of persuasion. You're trying to entice the consumers by the products and choose the services, and then you see all this is possible through communication. Yeah. Then maybe another one I can add is like to give warnings. You can also communicate to warn someone and about something, like if an employee absconds duty. Of course, they're going to get a warning from their employer, and that will be done through communication or to motivate maybe the employees, to raise their morale. All those are other purposes of communication, or even to cancel, like when you seek the services of a psychiatrist or a psychologist. They give you advice, maybe you are stressed about something or any psychological issue you have. You see, they're going to advise you and counsel you, and you can only do that through communication. So there are so many purposes or reasons why people communicate with each other. Then, of course, these aspects here we've already said. In the process that the information has to be received, understood, and accepted, and then based on the feedback, you can assess whether actually effective communication took place in the first place. Then I believe that's clear. We can look at qualities. The qualities of communication, which you can also refer to as principles of communication. So qualities or principles is just the same thing. And we have them here: clarity, completeness, conciseness, courtesy, correctness, and considerate or consideration. So we try to understand each of them, and we're going to start with clarity. So of course, if your message is not clear, the receiver will not understand, or they're going to misunderstand you. So you need to be as the sender, the communicator, you need to be clear of the objective of the communication. What do you want to achieve with this communication? Why are you sending the message in the first place? And that's why we looked at different purposes of communication. Do you want to impart knowledge? Do you want to inform, to persuade? What's the objective? And then, of course, if you want to persuade, you have to use very persuasive language. So you know how to package your message depending on what you want to achieve with the communication. Then you have to ensure the content, how you package the message, the words, the sentences, they are clear, and also you have to know which media to use, or the channels to use, the medium that you're going to use to get the receiver. Then of course there are various factors that can interfere with the clarity of the message. Like if you use very technical words that are beyond the level of understanding of the receiver, the message will not be clear. They will be wondering what you're talking about because you're using a very technical language. And a good example of technical language is jargon. I'm going to spell it here. Anyone who has ever heard this word, jargon? Who has an idea what it means? Have any of you ever come across this word anywhere?
I haven't.
Okay. Anyone else? So I'll try to explain what it means. So what we mean by jargon, this refers to a specialized language, or a language that is used by a specific group of people or profession, and it's only people in that group or profession that can understand that language. And a good example is medical jargon. Of course, medical jargon is those terms in medicine, especially medicine has some very technical terms. So only a doctor or a health practitioner or someone who is studying medicine can understand that kind of language. So if you are communicating to just a common man who has no background in medicine and you are using medical jargon, of course there you will not be communicating or passing any message. You can also have legal jargon. Legal jargon now has to do with the courts and the lawyers and judges. So only the law students or practicing lawyers or just people in law, they're the only ones who can understand some of the words or that kind of language. So for you to achieve clarity, you need to avoid jargon. You use a common language that the sender can easily relate with, unless you're communicating with maybe a doctor or that specific group of people. That's the only time you are allowed to use the jargon, because now you can use that who can understand you. But for a common man, we avoid use of jargon. Do you understand now the meaning of jargon?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then also, of course, to achieve clarity, you need to use simple sentences, simple and short sentences. Also, you should avoid, I'm going to type also, you should avoid ambiguity. Who knows what ambiguity is? What's the meaning of this word? Anyone with an idea?
Using big terms,
Hmm?
using
A
complicated
good
terms.
attempt. Good attempt. Who else wants to try? Okay, let me help. So, ambiguity is whereby your message or what you're communicating can have more than one meaning. Like when maybe a message is, it's open to multiple interpretations. Yeah? So whatever you are communicating can have more than one meaning. So one person can interpret it this way, another one can interpret it this other way. So now there you see the main meaning is not there. This person will not know exactly what you mean, and I'll give an example. For example, if let me write down this example. Um, okay. Who can tell us what is wrong with this sentence? What is wrong with that sentence? Anyone? Okay, what do you understand by it? What meaning do you get from that sentence? Who is not who between Rutu and Robert is not being considered for promotion? Is it clear who is not being considered?
Yes. It's
It's
clear who's
clear.
not being.
Is it according to you?
Robert is the one who's not being considered for the promotion.
Someone else? Daniel, who do you think is not being considered?
Robert. Like, Robert was not considered for the promotion according to the router. That's my understanding.
So, okay. You see, both of you have interpreted that it's Robert who is not being considered. But when you look at this sentence, Rutu told Robert that he was not being considered for promotion. It can also mean that it's Rutu who is not being considered, and then he's telling Robert about it. You see, such a sentence is open to multiple interpretations, or it has more. It can have more than one meaning. Someone can interpret that it's Rutu who is telling Robert that he, Rutu himself, is not being considered for promotion, or Rutu is informing Robert that Robert is not being considered for promotion. So you should avoid these kinds of sentences when you're communicating, but it's not clear exactly what you mean. So this is a good example of an ambiguous statement or sentence. So hence you're saying to achieve clarity, also avoid ambiguity, also avoid vague statement. A vague statement is one that's not that specific. When you tell someone, I will call you soon, what does soon mean? Is that clear? Or you tell someone, I'll visit you soon. Do they know when exactly to expect you?
No.
Yeah, so you
They,
need to be specific, yeah? You give a specific date and time. Don't just use words like soon or later. Those are big times. So to achieve clarity, you need to consider all these um, aspects and use simple language. And then I'm sure you've understood clarity. We can look at completeness. So when the information you're giving is incomplete, again, you're going either to mislead the receiver or there'll just be a miscommunication. So, for example, if you're trying to inform people, maybe it's the boss trying to call you for a meeting, then you send a message like this to the employees. We will have a meeting tomorrow. What is wrong with such a message? We will have a meeting tomorrow. What is missing?
The time and the
the
place.
exact time.
Yeah, the exact time and the place, the venue when the meeting will take place. Now, if you tell me we'll have a meeting tomorrow, I don't know the time, so I don't even know how I'm going to organize myself. I'll be baffled or confused. I'll just be in a state of confusion. I don't know whether it's in the morning or in the evening. So you need to pass a complete message by ensuring you capture all the relevant information. Then we have conciseness. This has to do with being brief, and you can also refer to it as brevity. From which word? This word brevity is from which
Brave.
word?
Brave.
Brave. Someone else?
Brief.
Yes, it's from the word brief.
Brief.
So do not confuse with brave. It has nothing to do with being brave or courageous. It's from the word brief. Yeah, that's why we are saying that conciseness means being brief and to the point, where you avoid beating around the bush, using so many words, repeating yourself, and there's nothing you are saying. You go straight to the point, even to save the time of your reader or the receiver. Then then we also have courtesy. You see, courtesy has to do with being friendly and minding the feelings of the other person. So if for it to be courteous, it's almost related to being considerate. Courtesy demands that you are polite towards the other person, even if maybe you're trying to correct them for something they did not do with the employee. Maybe they did not do one of the things they were supposed to do, or they did not do the task as expected. There's no need of being rude when you are correcting them. You need to be courteous. Then, of course, by being polite or courteous, you need to omit rude and irritating expressions such as you forgot, you failed, your irresponsible behavior, or your irresponsible approach, such kinds of terms that will make the other person feel bad or irritate the receiver, or on maybe someone has done the opposite of what they were expected to do, and then you are there telling them you are probably ignorant or unaware. You see, that sounds very rude, and they're going to be offended. So you avoid such kinds of expressions when you are communicating or writing maybe a business letter. Then also courtesy has to do with how you give the feedback. Like you're supposed to respond to a message as soon as you get it. If it's a letter, you need to respond to them promptly because the sender is waiting for your response. So you don't keep them waiting for a long time, and maybe it's urgent information. Courtesy also is about the time you take to give your feedback or respond to the information. Then we have correctness. Here is where you need to be very clean and accurate. This has to do with accuracy and giving the exact information to avoid misleading again the receiver. It's like when you're dealing with numbers and you omit even a single zero, that's a different figure. You have changed the meaning completely. So you need to ensure you're passing correct and accurate information. And I'll give an example again of that one of calling for a meeting. Maybe you've been told you're the assistant and you've been told to inform the employees that there's going to be a meeting at maybe 12 p.m. And then you confuse and tell them that the meeting is at 2 p.m. You see, they are going to arrive 2 hours late, and you see you've affected the whole functionality of the organization. So you need to give the exact information to avoid misleading the receiver. Also, it's that now what I've explained is more of or has to do with the message itself. Correctness can also be in terms of the time you send the message. You need to send a message in good time. You inform people early enough about any change that is happening, about any meeting. You don't just appear from nowhere and tell people there's a meeting unless maybe it's an emergency. You need to tell people in good time for proper planning. You see, correctness also has to do with sending the message at the correct time and also sending your message in the correct style. It's where you need to understand your audience, their level of it, so that appropriate language that is suited to their level. So also sending the message in the correct style is also under correctness. Then finally we have consideration of being considerate. You need to consider type of audience to determine the content of the message and the mood of delivery. Again, here it has to do with also understanding who your receiver is. When you understand your receiver, you are in a better position to communicate more effectively. You use an appropriate channel that they can use without challenges, an appropriate language that they can understand and easily relate with. And also consideration has also to do with like we say you adopt the let me write that here. you adopt the you attitude, yeah, whereby your message should be tailored towards the receiver and not you as the sender. For example, I'll give some examples here. Instead of saying I was, so now this where you say, where you focus on yourself is you call the we attitude, or maybe the I attitude, speaking from your perspective as the sender. So it should be more of the receiver. So instead of saying I was happy to hear that my letter of January 5th provided you with sufficient information, instead of saying that, it's better you adopt the you attitude, whereby you're considering more the receiver. You say thank you for your assurance that you had sufficient information. Or instead of saying I want to express my sincere thanks for the good words, you say thank you for your kind words. So you try to tailor the message towards the receiver, and to make it about the receiver and not about yourself as the sender. And then of course you try to ensure your messages are more positive. So instead of having such a negative message like we regret to inform you that we will not be able to execute your order until maybe a certain date, you make it more positive by saying thank you for your order. The goods will be sent to you as soon as possible. Try to be as positive as much as you can in your communication. And of course, you need to be considerate. You also need to impart integrity in your messages. Like you need to be ethical in your communication, whereby this involves the principles of sincerity. You avoid lying to people or manipulating people. Sincerity and fair treatment on the part of the receiver. So all those, when you consider all those aspects when you are communicating, you'll be showing consideration to your receiver or the person you are communicating with. Anyone with a question on the principles or qualities of communication? Is there any that is not clear?
That of the you attitude and the we attitude.
Okay.
Like for example, the one that you said, we thank you for your kind words,
Mm-hmm.
and not as you should say, I'd like to sincerely thank you.
Mm. Yeah.
I thought maybe me saying I like to thank you first is better. I don't know. Maybe you can explain to me again.
Okay, so now we are saying that you try as much as possible to make the message about the receiver, or make it appeal more to the receiver. You see, now when you say I was happy to hear that my package arrived or my letter arrived, it's like you see, it started with I. It's like you're making the issue about yourself. But when you say thank you for your assurance that you had sufficient information, or thank you for your kind words, or thank you for the package you sent, you are emphasizing more on the receiver, and it shows that you're really appreciating the receiver for something they did. So it will be better to say thank you for, or instead of I would like to thank you, or I want to express this and that, or I was happy to hear that. You just say thank you for this and that.
Okay,
Is
the
it
two cannot be
better
used
now?
together.
No,
Okay.
you just, and then you pick one, but the most preferred one is
The
the thank you.
to the receiver.
Yeah,
Okay.
making it more about the receiver.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question before we look at the barriers to effective communication? So we are going to explain or try to understand what you mean by these barriers, which you said the barriers are any interferences to effective communication or any reason or aspect that can prevent the message from being understood by the receiver. So there are quite many, so I'll try to be brief with them. The first one is difference in perception. What do you think this word perception means? What's a perception?
Opinion,
Mm-hmm.
a particular view towards
Yeah,
something.
that that's good. That a perception is someone's point of view or opinion about something or any issue or even about another person. Then that's always saying that how we view the world can be influenced by all these factors here, like education, background, age. Like when you consider how a young person views some issues, it's not the same way how an older person will view the same issue. There will be some difference. Our cultures, our nationality, our status, our sex or gender, all these factors will influence the kinds of opinions we have towards a certain issue in our society. Therefore, now it becomes a barrier if we have different opinions. Like when you're trying to communicate with someone who has a totally different view on an issue from you, as it will be very hard to come to an agreement, or the communication there will not be effective. It will be hindered because of that aspect of having a different view or a different understanding towards something or the issue at hand. Hence, now that's why we're saying that um, a difference in perception can act as a barrier to effective communication. Now, let's take an example of maybe an elderly person giving a speech to the youth, and then they are maybe they're speaking against technology and social media, which we know it's the daily go-to by the youth. You see, there actually these youth they might even be irritated and even stop listening to this person because they have a totally different view towards technology and social media because it helps them connect with their friends and people who are far away. So if it's someone who is against technology and speaking to someone who supports technology, thereby you see that it will be very hard for them to come to a common understanding, hence that becomes a barrier. Then we have jumping to conclusions or to conclusion, where it's saying you see what you expect to see or hear what you want to hear rather than what is actually there. So when we talk of jumping to conclusion, this is more of a prejudgment, whereby you assume something without even getting all the details or all the necessary information before you make that conclusion or that decision in your mind. Now, for instance, you are you are part of an audience and you're waiting for someone to come in and give you a speech or deliver any kind of information. Then this person walks in looking maybe a bit unkempt, wearing maybe ragged jeans and ragged clothes and a bit of unkempt hair, and maybe they have tattoos all over, and then you conclude just by how they look, they have nothing important to tell you. But maybe if you pay attention to them and you listen to them, you can gain or learn something from them. Now you see, you jumped to conclusion just based on their appearance, which will now interfere with their concentration and understanding of the message they are going to be giving you. Is that one clear? Are those two clear? Those two barriers?
Yes.
Yeah. And then we have stereotypes. Who knows what a stereotype is? Who has ever heard of that word? What do you think a stereotype is?
Like a prototype.
Hmm?
Yeah?
Yes. Like, give us an example of any stereotype you know of.
Uh, oh, I don't know.
So, a stereotype is a form of a generalization. Like you have a certain belief about maybe a certain culture or community, and then you generalize for everyone that comes from that community, and maybe they don't even share those same characteristics. That's why you're saying you run the risk of treating different people as if they are the same based on your experiences with them or the beliefs or any information you have about them. Like the common stereotypes we know of is that people tend to associate like people with love for money, or people who you can hear someone saying like people are thieves. Yeah, that's an example of a stereotype. Who can give me another example? The common
That
stereotypes in our society.
all was like they like bragging. That's
Yes,
like
very good. The Luos then bragging and showing off, pride.
uh,
Another one.
and all Sudanese are tall.
Okay.
Kambas and TCU associated with witchcraft.
Yes, that's true. The
Lawyers with eating
yes, Luya
Kis-
said love for food, especially what and what.
ugali.
They,
Yes, ugali and chicken
Kisi with
and,
bananas.
and tea, kissy, bananas. You see, all these are stereotypes where you are generalizing to the entire group. Yet maybe I may be a Luya and I don't even have chicken and just have
Yeah.
ugali.
Yeah.
You see? So now this such generalizations can hinder communication. Maybe someone is speaking to you, and when they introduce themselves as Omondi, you conclude or you think that now this one is just going to be showing off most of the time. So this one is a proud person, and you even decide I'm not going to pay much attention to them. After all, they're just going to be trying to show off or brag about how much wealth they have or how much English they know. You see that interferes with effective communication. Or another stereotype out from the cultures or the communities, it can be that some people have this mentality that the women are more inferior to men, or they are the weaker sex. Therefore, when maybe a woman comes to speak to you and you are a man, you feel that they have nothing important to tell you, or they do not even be speaking to you in the first place, so you ignore that generalization is what you're the stereotypes, and they can be a very true communication. Get someone to read and tell us what they understand by that barrier. Lack of knowledge. Anyone?
For example, farmers,
Mm-hmm.
uh, some maybe due to lack of going to higher levels of education, and like to communicate to them, usually maybe weekly, monthly, and it's hard for them to use maybe a computer or what. Some you'll have to send them maybe some magazines using their own language,
Yeah.
or maybe Kiswahili, which is a general, but some maybe they're not conversant in English. It's hard for you sending them magazines in English.
Yeah.
Maybe such an example.
Yeah, when you are receiver, the person you are communicating with, if they have a lower background knowledge from me, as like the example of traders, the farmers will be literate and they cannot even use maybe technology effectively like the computers. We had to communicate with them, or you can argue it like this. Um, maybe you are talking to, you have maybe a professor who is very learned, and then they go and speak to young children about a very complex topic that the children cannot even understand. You see there they even be wondering what is this person telling us in the first place. So you need to like understand the level of your audience, but you even choose an appropriate topic that they can relate with, and use a language that you say they can understand. Then also, I think also I can argue it from the side of the sender. Um, if you're the one giving the message and you don't have an idea of what you're talking about, like you're being told to give a speech on cancer or even the coronavirus that we have, and you don't have any idea about it, you see you're going to end up confusing yourself and the audience because you don't have any like information, you've not researched on it, you've not prepared well, so you lack knowledge in that particular topic or that field that you're trying to communicate on. So that now becomes a barrier to communication. Someone to explain to us lack of interest. If you understand the lack of interest is a barrier.
Um, this is whereby, uh, for instance, you're told uh, something that you don't feel like it's interesting to you. You don't get the meaning from it, so you just lack interest or the drive to understand it.
Yeah, if you are not interested at all in what is being talked about, there's no way you're going to pay attention. Like you, maybe you're in a certain group, and we are talking about football, and you have no idea about even the teams. You don't even know anything about football. You just don't love football. Of course, you're not going to pay attention to them because you do not have interest in whatever they are talking about. So also we are saying that it should be if it is obvious and understandable that your receiver, that's what the statement means. If it's obvious and understandable that your receiver maybe lacks interest in what you are saying, you need to work hard as the sender to make the message appeal to them, that is their interest and their needs, like picking a topic they love, they can relate with, so that they pay attention and give their contribution. Next, who can explain to us the next one? Number 6. Difficulty in self-expression.
Pardon?
Who can explain to us the number 6, the sixth barrier? You can even come up with an example.
Difficulties in self-expression. It can be
Yeah,
like when you are used to a certain language, maybe like mostly use Kiswahili at
yeah,
most of time, and then like your audience are mostly they know English, and then like you started to express yourself, then you find difficulties of finding some words because you used to say them in Kiswahili, so you will find it difficult to deliver the message because you don't have the knowledge of some words in that language.
yeah. That's very good. That's a good example. If you are used to using Swahili and then here you're being told to give a speech in English, you even be pausing and trying to find which words can I use to give this message or this meaning. So that can interfere with effective delivery of the message or effective
And
communication.
and what if you have
Yeah.
stage fright, or you're afraid of uh, passing out message to large crowd, like new people or new faces? How do you?
Yeah, it's very good. That's also another way of looking at it in terms of your confidence and your, like you said, if you are not confident or brave and you have stage fright and maybe you have been called upon to give a speech or just a vote of thanks, and you'll be so nervous and even confuse yourself, you don't even know which words to use. So you can also argue it from that perspective of lack of um this is like the almost the next barrier, having stage fright and fear that can interfere with how you express or deliver the message. That's also another way to explain. Anyone with another way of looking at it before we go to lack of confidence?
And if you have verbal is, like for instance, if you are a stammerer, you might have
Yes,
also.
very good. Again, that also is another example. If you are stammerer, also you have difficulty in pronouncing the words, in expressing yourself. All those are good examples to discuss. Difficulty in self expression. Then lack of confidence, which I may have explained when I was saying about street fight. This is like where you go to the stage, or you face a very large crowd or number of people, and you end up forgetting everything, even your name, and you're just confused, you're shaking, you're dropping papers all over. There's no way you'll be able to deliver any kind of meaningful message. So to avoid that, if you know you're going to give a speech on a certain day, you need to research well and to prepare well. When we go to topic 2, we shall look at public speaking, so we'll understand more about how to effectively prepare to deliver a speech and yeah, what you should include, what you should do, and what to avoid. So, if, of course, if you are well prepared, you'll be more confident that I know what I'm doing and what I'm supposed to say, so you'll be able to communicate more effectively. Someone explained to us why emotions can be a barrier to communication. Emotions.
I think
Um, oh, God.
Yes, we can have Jerusha and then Alvin.
in a case whereby maybe it's a funeral
Yeah,
and someone will start talking, but then she'll end up being carried by emotions and start crying. So what
yes,
she or he will have spoken, he may not be able to speak again. And also,
yes.
yeah, I think that
They are very good. That is when you're overwhelmed by emotions, like sad emotions, and you end up breaking down. Or when you're giving an ordeal, maybe you are a survivor of a certain tragedy, like a terrorist attack, and then you start giving people experience, then all that, all those memories come to your mind and you end up even being very emotional and you start crying and it interferes with your delivery of the message. Good. Alvin, yours was?
And when you are overwhelmed or
Yes.
extremely happy, the words, the words you may be so that you don't think that the person
We are not, yes,
will
we are not very clear.
when you are overwhelmed or extremely happy,
Yes.
you might not be as clear enough as to what you are trying to pass to the receiver. So there may be a barrier, communication barrier.
They are very good. That's also another way to look at it when now it's the positive emotions. Like when you someone gives you a call and tells you you won the jackpot and you're supposed to go and give a speech almost immediately, it will be quite hard for you to contain your joy and happiness, and that can actually interfere with your delivery of the message. So the emotions can be both positive and or negative, but you need to control them to ensure you give an effective message. Yes. What about personality? Can tell us what they understand by that is a barrier. Anyone?
Let's say when a person is arrogant or like ignorant,
Mhm.
like he will not pay attention because he will think that he knows everything. So like when you try to deliver a message to him, like we'll just be assuming that this person doesn't know what he's saying. I know better. So that one will be a barrier because he will not let you deliver the message well because he will like interfering, like he say this and that he knows better. He will be trying to show you that he knows, but in real sense he doesn't know anything.
Yeah, very good. That's a good example. If you are full of yourself and you are arrogant, you feel you know everything, you're not ready to give others a chance or to learn from others, you see, that is going to interfere with your concentration and even whether you pay attention to this person at all. Anyone else with another example
Yes,
of personality? Yes.
and if a person's personality is that of a shy person or underconfident person, the person may be, if he or she has something important to pass out, may be scared to pass it out. So
Yeah,
that may.
may interfere with the message. Yeah, if you are a shy person or you are an introvert, you don't talk much or express yourself much, you see, that can hinder you from really expressing yourself and giving the message as expected. Any other aspect of personality you can think of?
The dictatorship personality now, when
Mm,
one who's usually used to dictating, to being a
yes.
dictator, people will always conclude what maybe he or she will say, so they'll not take keenly what they're being told. And at the end of the day, if one was to communicate back
Yeah.
or give views, or okay, there'll be that communication barrier because of that personality.
Yeah, if someone is a dictator and they don't like giving others a chance even to give their opinions and their views, you even intimidate your receivers or your audience, or if you are the boss, you're going to intimidate your employees whereby they are not free even to give any suggestions because they know you'll be rude to them or you just turn them down or you will not consider them because you are like a dictator and you think only your views are the legitimate ones or are the ones that make sense. So also that can also be another way to look at it. Then physical noise. Someone to explain to us physical noise.
An example of a physical noise
Yes.
is, for example, when I'll start having a meeting here, and at the
Yeah.
same time I want to hear what you're saying, or I want to communicate back to you.
Mm-hmm.
In one way or another, we will not communicate well. No one will hear another. That's an example of a physical noise.
Yeah, the noise from the surrounding environment. Like you can need to mute the mics because you see, like the background noise is now acting as a barrier, or now what you are referring to as physical noise. Or if you're in class and there's a construction site nearby or an industry, you see all that noise will hinder you from hearing what the teacher is saying, and vice versa. Like when you ask questions, it will be hard to communicate in such an environment. Then, what about psychological noise? I want to tell us what they understand by psychological noise.
This is when you have a lot of thoughts that are bothering you. You are under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, and you can't think straight because technically, like, there's a internal warfare. So
Yeah, yeah. So this one is just from within you as an individual. When you're stressed about something or in a state of depression, there's no way you're going to pay attention. Those thoughts are the ones that will be constantly running in your mind. So it's going to interfere with your ability to listen and understand what is being communicated to you. Then we have physiological noise. Someone to tell us what they understand by physiological noise. Yes. Okay, so now this one is comes about as a result of any discomfort you may be having in your body, like when you are hungry or when you are tired or you are sleepy. It will be hard for you to concentrate, or you are sitting in an uncomfortable sitting posture or position. It's going to interfere with your concentration on what is being communicated to you. Like, take an example of if you have maybe a headache, is it really very practical for you to get anything? That kind of discomfort and pain will make you not even hear anything that's being communicated. So all those examples from physiological noise. So we need to differentiate between these three. People tend to confuse physical, psychological, and physiological. We need to clearly learn how to or understand how to differentiate the three of them, even in terms of the spelling, no matter how they are spelled. Then we have the language barrier or linguistic noise. Now, this one has to do with the use of language. So it can be the result of the resources and ability to use the language or accurately and appropriately. So, and then it can be in different forms, like it can be grammatical noise, whereby you don't understand the rules of grammar, like you're using past tense instead of present tense, or mixing past tense and present tense. You see that's not a clear message. Or instead of you're referring to a male and you're calling them she instead of he. Yeah. Then even in terms of if you are writing, punctuation is also another rule of grammar. Poor or a poorly punctuated article or piece of writing or a letter will be hard to read and follow. So you need also to understand proper punctuation. Like when you misplace a comma or replace a comma where it's not supposed to be, or you omit full stops, you can change the meaning of the entire sentence or that paragraph that you are using to communicate. Or even faulty sentence structure. Then that was on the grammatical aspect. The same can also manifest in form of semantic noise. Semantic has to do with language. Also, semantic has to do with wrong use of words or using unfamiliar words or misspelling. Again, here it's the issue of using difficult terms like that your audience cannot understand, or you're trying to show off that you know a lot of English and you're using very technical terms, but you see at the end of the day you'll be speaking to yourself. Your receiver is not even getting anything. Or um, misspelling the words that can interfere with how someone interprets. Or now the wrong use of words here, it's where you have the commonly confused words. An example I can give is effect, the word effect and affect. What's the difference between those two words? Effect and affect. What do you think is the difference?
Effect is the outcome,
Yes.
and effect is the, let's say, the cause of what like what interfere with something.
Yeah, that's true. Effects have to do with the consequences or
The
the
outcome.
the outcomes of something, like where we are seeing the effects of the
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Cockroach.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me? I'm back. Again, I was
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
How are they? Oh, yes. Welcome.
Yeah, you can continue. We can hear
I
you.
had okay. So we were looking at. I was looking at the linguistic noise or language barrier, and then I was talking about the language barrier manifesting in terms of the rules in improper use of grammar, like I said, mixing past and present tense, poor. Then I was the language barrier, which has to do with wrong use of words, use of unfamiliar words or misspelling. And then that's why Daniel was telling us between effect and affect. So I've said effect has to do with the consequences or the results or the outcomes of something, and then affect is when maybe that particular issue or something brings about a change in someone. We say it has affected you. So if you're confusing such words, you're going to end up miscommunicating, hence now it becomes a barrier. Then it can also manifest in terms of pronunciation. Language barrier will be in terms of incorrect pronunciation. For example, if you have an influence from your first language or your mother tongue, and then instead of saying chair, now the seat on share, yeah, you see that interpret that you mean sharing, like the way you share friend, you share something with your friend. So now if you have such poor pronunciation, you're going to have ineffective communication. Hence, those are the various aspects in which language becomes a barrier, or we can refer to it as linguistic noise, or it can also be in terms of you using a language that your audience or your receiver does not understand. Swahili to people in the interior and they don't understand, like with a language. Then the last barrier is mechanical barriers or channel noise. So now to it as channel noise. These mechanical barriers, they are as a result of the channel or the medium you're using to deliver your information. For example, if you're using a phone and there's poor network in the area of your receiver, you see, there you're going to have the interference reception or the way it got disconnected because of power disruptions. You see, that also interfered with my, that's also a good example of a mechanical channel noise. Or for example, when someone is using a microphone or a public sometimes you hear that screeching sound when someone is using the microphone, which actually find the audience becomes irritated and they can hardly hear what the speaker or the receiver is saying. That's an example of a barrier a channel. Then you will note that you can explain this in terms of the absence of communication facilities can also be a barrier on its own. Like if that medium or channel you are using is not available on the part of the receiver, that also becomes a barrier when you are looking at how or selecting a channel. You have to whether it's easily accessible, available. So if it's not available, like the way I said, sending an email who doesn't have a laptop or any device they can log into their email, that's a mechanical barrier because some facilities there in the first place. That's how you explain mechanical barriers or you can also as so having displaying sharing the screen. I've switched to the connection to connect after the lights have come back. So we'll just listen. It's hard to share the screen through the phone. So we've looked at all those barriers and how to explain them, even examples, and it's clear that you've understood them. There are very measures or ways to overcome these barriers. So definitely is like, for example, in an motion set lawyer and the employees. So steps must be taken to make organization structure straightforward and the communication lines simple, clear, and direct. Like, we should not have so many parties involved in the process, like the information flowing along a very long chain communication. By the time the communication is getting to the final part, the receiver, it becomes a whole different message. It can easily be it's passed from one person to another. Always the lines need to be simple, direct, whereby even the employees who they're supposed to communicate too fast. Like, who do you go too fast to air your grievances? You don't go straight to the manager or the CEO. There's maybe a line that you should follow. The person you report to immediately, you can know how effectively to air your grievances, and then they'll get to the relevant parties. Then another way to overcome is if there is tension or relationship in the organization is more formal and rigid, you have to ensure you establish and confidence in the organization. On personality, and you looked at old lawyer and you have that kind of an attitude. I even say that you're going to discourage your employees from even giving any suggestions, and which might be even useful to the organization, or you can actually intimidate them and interfere with proper communication. So we need to have a good relationship between the communicating parties. Then another way that point to or overcome the barriers is communication must be well planned, well considered, well planned and well constructed. Then the content adequate, complete, and the sentences logical and well organized. And the language should be simple, clear, and unambiguous. You see, this point has to do with you understanding and applying principles of communication mentioned on them. Which are the principles or qualities of communication we've discussed, because that's what this point is about. Yes.
Clarity.
Yes.
Clarity.
Another one, ma'am?
Courtesy.
Courtesy.
Consideration.
Someone else. Consideration, completeness, all those. So when you consider these qualities, you'll be able to package clear and well organized message that are ambiguous. We have said you avoid having a statement or a phrase that has more than one meaning. The number 4 has to do with the channel, choosing the channel. So the medium and method of communication should be chosen carefully. The particular communication. Sometimes oral communication may need to be supported by of, like you're saying, you might think the message is very urgent, so you choose oral face-to-face communication, like you convene a meeting with the people involved, then you pass the information orally. But now for friends, you may need to keep those records in written form. So also to avoid such miscommunication or having a situation in future where there's a dispute between the employer and the employee. Maybe the employer is saying, I didn't do this because I wasn't. Okay, I didn't do this because I wasn't told, but told, and they once you can that you actually told do that thing that they're saying they were told, or even vice versa, the employer is saying and they didn't tell you, then they are hitting you and threatening you that you do that instruction form, avoid such disputes. Then the last point on how to overcome the barriers is in terms of the flow of communication. Let me read the point, then I explain. The flow of communication should be carefully regulated to maintain the optimum flow. Careful processing of information to eliminate all unnecessary information will ensure that communication channels are not overloaded. You see here the quality of yes. Anyone with a question? So now you see that first topic was on understanding what is the process and of communication, the purpose, and then the communication and how to overcome them. So it's 20 be a connection brief all the secularized this even covered that topic is very short, so maybe we can cover it. So if you check the notes I shared on top, you will notice that it's about oral or verbal communication. Who can by oral communication? Anyone? Can you hear me?
Pardon?
Yes, I'm asking someone to explain to us what they understand by oral communication.
This is a type of communication where you use you communicate verbally through the mouth.
Yeah, using the word of the fifth topic, passing a message without saying anything. So here, oral or verbal communication are used by speaking and word mouth. Then to mention some of the examples or types of verbal communication. The examples can include meetings and conferences and seminars. There you have to use word of mouth. Interviews that exchange interviewer and the interviewee, a group people have come together for a common conversations, of course, discussion, public speaking. Yeah, you are speaking to a radio broadcast, mass communication through that's verbal. Face-to-face one where with that person there, or announcement address. That's of course. Then to start with speaking, someone to tell us what they are define understanding of public speaking. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, public speaking is speaking out maybe where there's a meeting in a public place, a lot of people.
Yeah, it involves having the speaker in a large audience. So it refers to giving a talk about or concerning a certain topic or issue to an audience. Of course, we're going to be talking about a specific topic or issue, and which I said you have to prepare very well. Yeah, one of the subtopics is how to plan planning to speak. That is how you should prepare to give that talk or on that specific topic. Then the next part on public speaking is the characteristics of a good speech. What do you think a good speech should have? What are some of the qualities of a good speech? You can just mention, and then I can explain the ones I have.
Should be clear and understandable.
Yeah, very good. Clarity is one of the characteristics. You need to express the information, the emotions, the facts, or the information you ensure you're doing it in a clear way. Again, that's why we had to understand the qualities of communication. You apply all that we've discussed on clarity. You also apply that on your speech. Another characteristic.
Brevity.
Brevity, which we have brave about being
be
brief
interesting.
and to the point. Yeah, it would be interesting. You can here and there. You can use famous people. Who do you know is usually mostly commonly quoted? What are the most commonly quoted people?
Martin Luther King.
Yeah, good. Who else?
Mahatma
Yeah,
Gandhi.
Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela. People you can look for a suitable that is in line with what you are talking about. Then there's another anecdotes. Who knows anecdote is?
Pardon?
ANECDES. Anecdotes. Anyone who knows what that is?
No.
Yeah, so it's another aspect you can consider a short real life story about you can make it clear using an example. For example, if you're giving a speech or drug abuse, and maybe you are a reformed drug dealer or you are a drug addict, but now you've changed, you went to rehab. So now you see you can give your audience a story about your experience, how you overcame that addiction and all that. You can just give a brief story about yourself that the audience can relate with, and then you see it's related to your topic. So that's what we refer to as an anecdote. So instead of just presenting the points and the facts one point after another, you can give such a brief story just to break the monotony and make your speech more interesting. So using the quotation, using those experiences, and using humor is going to make your speech interesting. What other? So far we've looked at and interesting. Another one is that speech should be like talk, like you ensure it's more of informal and it's not very formal or rigid. Like, you ensure that you create a good rapport or a relationship between you and your audience. Break any tension that might be existing. But you can mute the mic if you're not speaking. Have relationship or interaction with your audience. They'll even be comfortable to ask you questions and give you their suggestions. That's why you're saying it should be informal talk. It's like you're just chatting with, whereby it looks like even the audience is intimidated or afraid of giving their views. Then another point is that it should be kindly vivid and now by mean the word you read a certain story or article and you can actually even form a mental image concerning what is being you see that your speech should be vivid and concrete in terms of how you describe what you're talking about, how you describe the events you're talking about, so that the audience they can actually visualize what you are talking about. Like they can actually see that image of whatever topic you are discussing. Then we have that the speech should be audience oriented. This is where you need to understand your audience very well. You need to know who you're going to speak with. Is it children? Is it young people? Is it the elderly? Is it illiterate people? So that will guide you in even choosing an appropriate language and even the topic. You're going to choose a topic that they can relate with easily. So you need to really understand your audience. And then the last point is that your speech should have, like you don't just you have to start with the introduction where you maybe define different terms or on the topic and what it's about, what it means. Just have an introduction. Then now you go to the body where you present your facts, you elaborate all those points you had prepared. Then that's why you're going to use now the humor, the short stories, just to break monotony of just presenting facts, like we've said. And then finally, when you are done exhausting everything, you can have the conclusion. So you organize your speech in those three parts for it to have a clear flow, and this will even help the audience to clearly follow what you are presenting or talking about. Qualities of a good speech. Then very quickly in the remaining few minutes, mention the qualities of a good speaker. What qualities should you have to be a good speaker?
Should have
Yes.
confidence.
Yeah, very good. You should be confident so that you are able to communicate well. Quality.
Should be should cheer up, being lively.
Very good. You should also be lively and interesting. Like you have to show the audience you are really interested in that topic. You love what you're talking about. It's not like you are forced to come and speak on that topic. And when they see that you love what you're talking about, you're interested, they'll also be equally interested. So you need to be very lively and to prepare well. Anyone else? Are the others still connected or it's just you?
I'm not sure.
Even are you there and Daniel? I think maybe they got disconnected.
Maybe.
Any other quality you can think of? Huh?
Can brief
They also
appear
have
here?
yeah, you can add under this point of responsibility. Like you should have a sense of responsibility, that you understand that the audience have their time is precious, so you avoid wasting their time saying unnecessary information. You can explain like responsible in terms of how you manage the time, how you time your speech, ensure it's neither too long or short, and you say something worth the audience's time. And then Oscar should have a sense of like the audience should allow you to give your presentation and then they can ask the questions later and give their feedback later on after you are done. So like you have that sense of your environment that and the audience speech characteristics. Of course, the one you said of confidence, and then a good speaker also must be composed. So you sure you're not also overconfident or over. Remember, emotions carry you away. So you need to compose yourself, even if you feel you're well prepared, 100% prepared. You try to yourself all the emotions you're having. Yeah, those are some of them. Qualities of calm. And I time is remaining. In the next class, I'll try to move very fast so that we also cover the topic we were to cover today, and then we go to the other topic. Is that okay?
This is topic 1.
Yeah, we finished 1 and we started 2. So this one we're talking about speaking, and the public speaking is topic 2, which is oral or verbal communication.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
welcome. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Okay.